Welcome to Legit Conversations. This is my podcast hosted by myself, Cultivated Ni, and this is our fourth episode. So you are my second guest, fourth episode. I'm excited about this. And I had a few things I sent you over the kind of rundown. Did you kind of look at the rundown a little bit?
Yes, I did get a chance to look at it.
When I sent you the video, I try to have everything in place so you have to work too hard so we can just talk a little bit. And it's really a relaxed environment. I just like to bring people on just to kind of get a balanced perspective. That's all it is. And we recently met, I think formally met. I've seen you before, but I kind of think we formally met last week at the Laugh Factory at the Kenan Thompson Experience. We was in the green room having great conversations back there. So those were legit conversations as well. And I was just like, man, you got a good energy about you. And you got a certain passion about how you speak, but you also are willing to listen. And that was one of the things that kind of stood out to me about you. And I said, well, I think we'd be able to have a good conversation here, and we can kind of, talk through this and see if we can, bring some more people in to watch us, So did you watch the Cam video? Did you watch kind of the part of it? And yes. So let me frame it a little bit just for everybody out there that's going to be watching this. So last week, Cam Newton was in trouble again, right? In trouble. He's in hot water. You know how social media is now. So it's kind of crazy. And Cam Newton was on $1 Million Worth of Game podcast with Gilly the Kid and Wallow 267. Really good podcast over there. And they were talking. And in the beginning, he kind of brought up some interesting comments about the woman's place. I don't even want to say in society, but it kind of goes to society, right? And like where maybe she belongs next to a man. And he said some other things, and we'll kind of get into that. But the things I think that got him in the hot water and everybody talking was when he said he was talking about being a bad bitch, right? You're a bad bitch and you want to be that. But he said, can you cook? Can you be quiet? And do you know how to let your man lead? And I think those three things really set the internet on fire. And you know how clips go, and it just went viral. When you saw the clip or you saw that portion of the interview, what were your first takeaways on that?
It honestly, I cringed a little bit watching that. And I think that it's not necessarily like of those three things, the only thing that I really agreed with was the part about, are you willing to let your man lead? Like, I truly, like, that is the one part that I did agree with him on. Like, I feel like it's very important for a man to have the flexibility to lead. And it's really like, as women, when a man is leading properly, we automatically submit. And I don't think that that's something that gets talked about a lot. We hear a lot about, oh, women won't submit, whatever the case may be. But it's like, oftentimes, like, and I won't even speak generally, I'll speak from my own personal experiences. Like, I noticed that when in dating or in relationships, like, the more that the man leads, the more submissive I become, because it's like, it attracts me to want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, to just like how you say, like, just like be willing to listen and understand if there's things that, he might be putting me on game on that I may be unaware of, things like that. So I agreed on that part, but the cooking part, I don't think that that's mandatory. I mean, I personally like to cook. I love to cook for my partner, but I don't feel like that's necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Because there may be women that, let's say, are making a decent living for themselves, and they may not have the time, like me. Like, I only get to cook maybe once or twice a week because I'm out working a lot. So I may not always be able to cook, not because I can't, but because I don't have the time for it. Like, so I don't think that that's necessarily a precursor, because she may be able to, there's other things like takeout or whatever the case may be. I don't think that that's really, I felt like that comment was really misogynistic. And I think that that's what, like, the majority of the women was feeling like. It was a very misogynistic comment to be made. Cause it's like, well, if you're saying that women have to cook, like, if you weren't Cam Newton, like, are you a maintenance man? Are you a handyman? Like, I'm pretty sure you hire plumbers and you hire somebody else to come do stuff that may be considered manly or what men are supposed to do. So it really made me cringe because the whole sit down and shut up thing, like I don't agree with that, because I feel like as women, especially solid women, you know what I'm saying, like to tell a solid woman that she should just shut up, I think it is very is dismissive, it's demeaning, and I think that it negates the fact that she brings value, and that's what I didn't like about it, because I feel like there are certain women that have experienced things or been through things, or may even know certain things, and so to just dismiss her because she's a female and tell her like she's just supposed to sit there and be pretty and shut up, like why would you even want that on your side? Like why would you want somebody that you know what I'm saying? Like it kind of gave me like he wants the chick off of Coming to America, like whatever you like, whatever. Like no,
like a big dog.
Yeah. But you see, he didn't pick her. He didn't choose her because he was secure within himself. And I think that he kind of showed his own insecurities, because it's like, if you're a secure man, you want to get your woman's feedback. If you trust her, if you trust her opinion, you trust that she's solid, you want to get feedback from your woman. You know what I'm saying? Not that you're going to always do what she may advise or whatever the case may be, but it kind of shows his insecurity that he's not even confident enough to allow his woman to speak up. And so it really made me cringe, because I was just like, Cam, come on. Like,
Cam. So I want to ask you, because I got a lot of different things. I really and it was only like 2 minutes worth of content in that space when you're talking about women. He's talking about other things, but he also, right before that, he kind of spoke about his family dynamic, and I was wondering, do you think a part of what he's saying is based on his environment and what he grew up in? He did mention that he grew up with both parents. Also, his grandma was in the home. So that's 3 generations in one house. So if you go up 1 generation, that woman, he said his mother and father been together for 36 to 37 years, which is the duration of his life plus some, right? And then he has his grandmother over top there that's there as well. So we're talking about generations that may date back to the 30s or 40s, right? So we're in 2022. So we're talking about almost 100 years of women in different generations. Do you think that played a part in maybe his comments?
Absolutely. And I think that goes for everybody. I think that our upbringing plays a huge part in why a lot of our mindsets are shaped the way that they are. I mean, especially if you think about like sexism, racism, like these are social behaviors. Like these things are like they're learned in whatever environment you come up in. So if you grow up in an environment where certain mindsets are passed down, of course, like that's what you're gonna, like for people that may have been raised in an environment where, like I've heard men say like, oh, fuck bitches, get money, but then that's the mentality that they're gonna have. But then you might have somebody that came from a 2-parent, or like in his case 3-parent household, so his mindset may not be fuck bitches, get money, but it may be, hey, because I've seen my mother act in this way, or I've seen my grandmother act in this way. And I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form that a woman should ever be emasculated to a man, ever. I'm not saying that at all. But to kind of imply that, I'm Cam, I'm this guy, and you just play the back, like, I mean, I agree with that. But if you look at like, take the Obamas, for example, right? Like, can you imagine like what would be the case if Michelle Obama just sat down and shut the fuck up and didn't say nothing? Like, do you really think Barack like would tell her to like, nah, no, like, and I'm pretty sure she uses discernment, and she's very discerning and say, hey, in certain rooms, I will just play the back and support my man and just be, his social support. But at the same time, I know for a fact that there have been things that like Michelle has had her hands in that has bettered him and bettered their situation. So that's why I'm like, I definitely think that it could definitely be a part of just what he's seen. And I definitely am not downplaying that there are dynamics in relationships that make that mesh, and there are certain feminine behaviors and characteristics, you know, that women should definitely you know, adhere to, but at the same time to imply that it's kind of like how like that the LeBron situation, like nobody appreciated when they was like, oh, just shut up and dribble. Like, no, like, so it's like kind of the same thing. It's like you're trying to tell women that like we're not in a space where we can add value. And that's the issue that I have with it, that it's like women provide so much more value than just what they look like or being a trophy or arm candy. Like we add value. And when men make comments like that, it dismisses the value of a woman. And it makes me question like what the dynamic was, because it's like, yes, you can have a 3-parent household, but at the same time, like that doesn't necessarily mean that everything you were taught was appropriate. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I feel like it's definitely, I would say all of our upbringings play a part in how we behave with others and how we view the world, how we see the world. I definitely think your upbringing and some of the values that were instilled in you early on definitely help develop who you are now and why you think the way you think.
No, and that's why I brought you, because you're passionate. You definitely speak it from the heart. I tend to agree with you on. Well, for one thing, I always think women add value. I've always been like that. I was raised by women for the most part. I feel like the greatest people in my life have always been women, and that's important for me. And always to put you all in the forefront. I like putting women in the forefront rather than even just putting them on my side. So I like to big up, you know, the ladies and the things that you've done and how you've added to society and culture. Where I do agree with you is I do believe there are like the leading part. I do find there are moments where I don't want necessarily just playing a role game. I don't because I know we get in that gender role and people want to know that power struggle. I'm not into the power struggle. I want you to be yourself. I want you to be the greatest version of yourself, and hopefully we add value to each other so that I can, you know, put you on that pedestal so that you can become greater and the same, and vice versa. So I agree with there. I think what I saw with Cam on some of the things he said, I think I know where he was coming from. I just don't think he articulated it well, if I'm being completely honest, right? And I don't think
I can see that.
Yeah, and I don't think he was saying shut up. I don't think he was saying that you have to cook. I think he was saying, based on the perception of how we look and view women now, especially with social media, right? You're a very beautiful young lady, right? And you're a performer, right? In society now, everybody online presumably does something, right? They're, you know, presumably a model, they're an actress, they're, you know, and we're in the show business arena. But it feels like everybody, even though it's like, where are the regular people at? Like, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of like when you know, he's talking about, he's like the bad bitch, you know, that, you know, all that. It's like, because everybody's that now. Everybody is just so more than what, nobody's just regular cool anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know who the audience is anymore because everybody wants to be on stage. And I think he was kind of speaking on in that term of like life now, like every woman just, not even every woman, but people just in general, we always want to just be more. And it's like, yo, like just play your role in society. And like, you may be great at things and you can do that. And it doesn't have to be all these other things like that. And you don't have to emasculate a man because I see a lot of these posts that women put too. I see how women talk and it's material and it's, I gotta have this and I need a Birkin. Like, how everybody getting a Birkin? Who got 30,000 to drop on every, like, come on, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so everybody wants that. Everybody wants the expensive dinners now. And everybody want to, you know what I mean? I'm going to Chipotle, okay? That's where I'm going. I'm going to Chipotle, right? I like high-end stuff, but I'm going to Chipotle.
Now, don't get me wrong. I treat myself. Like, if I had a really long week and, like, I was working, I would definitely, like, last week, I definitely treated myself to some Benihanas. Like, I definitely will do that, but I don't necessarily feel like I'm not a woman that feels like I have to have that from somebody else. Like, if I want that, I'll treat myself to it. Or if someone, you know, does take me out for that, like, I'll appreciate it, but I'll also appreciate Chipotle too, because Chipotle is lit. Like, I love Chipotle.
Chipotle is that extra $2 for the
I definitely understand what you mean by that. And it kind of, because I took some notes on some of the things that he said that like stood out to me. And the point that you just brought up made me think about when he said when he was talking about like sucker shit, right?
Mhm.
Like how people, you know, are portraying things, you know, that they may not necessarily be like, you know, like for instance, like I know local rappers, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
that may rap about this and rap about that, and it's like you don't live that lifestyle. That's not how you live it. But everybody, like to your point, wants to do it for the gram. Everybody wants the Birkin. Like
Yeah.
I don't care about a Birkin. How do you treat me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, are you supportive? Like those are the things that matter to me. Like a Birkin and all that stuff, like that stuff come and go. But you know what I'm saying? Like I'm more concerned about your moral compass, your like how you treat me. How do you treat the people around you? Because how do you treat the people around you is gonna show me how you're gonna treat me and how you gonna move with me. So I'm less concerned about the material. And more concerned about the vibe. Like if we can't vibe and we can't, like how you were saying, like what I really appreciated about the compliment you gave in the beginning was the fact that you said like you have your opinions, but you're also open to hearing other opinions, and that's okay. That is completely okay. Not all of us are going to see everything in the same light or the same perspective, but at the same time, it's just like have genuine respect and decency for one another, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's what it's about. Everything I'm about is like just really finding balance and purpose in what we're doing. How do I show you, like, I don't have to. Last week I had one of my friends in comedy and we spoke on the Gerard Carmichael special where he came out. My partner that I had on the show, he's a comedian. He's also part of the LGBTQ plus community, right? So we had a good exchanging of ideas, and he also talked about his way through society and in the comedy and show business. And that's why I kind of drew those parallels. But I always want to hear the other side, because we've got to a place where it's like, if you don't like something, we just shut it down. And like even what Cam said is like, the first thing we do is pile on them. Like even I'm okay with you cringing. That's fine. Like you didn't like it, like, ooh, that, you know what I mean? Like that's okay. But if now you want to cancel him, if now like he's the worst dude in the world, if now it's like I'm not watching him play football, I don't want to see him on nothing, like why? Because there was one thing, like, and it's like we get to this place, the same thing, like we're gonna keep talking about Will, like Will is losing all that, like Will been perfect for 35 years.
Yes.
And he and he had a moment. And I think that's the part I'm having an issue with, like in society right now. And like even with this Cam situation, like I said, I don't know if I agreed or disagreed. I just felt like he didn't articulate himself well. And I don't think he was, sometimes, you know what happens, like especially like with guys, is we get to a space, we get a little older, you know what I'm saying? And we in a better space than we was. But 10 years ago, we had a different person who we were, right? Okay. We have 10 years ago, we somebody, Cam at 24 is not Cam right now, right? So even when he's talking about women, I know for sure him being a young star, a rookie, MVP in the NFL, his lifestyle was totally different. He got kids now, right? He got establishments now. He's doing things, talking about I'm building businesses for people to come and exchange ideas in places that require you to dress a certain way when you come in, because we coming in grown and sexy. We coming in on, you know, that type of vibe, but he wasn't like that 10 years ago, right? So I think like him saying it now is like a person coming into information almost. Like, yeah, like, you know, when somebody come into information and they want to tell you about it, I feel like he gets to a space now where he's finding himself and he's elevating himself, and he didn't just articulate himself as well as he probably could have in that moment. But I understand what he's saying in regards to like you can be a bad without all that other stuff. It's like, yo, mommy, like, I love you, I rock with you. What you want to do, let me show you what I got to present, and then you present what you have to present, and then we figure that out together. And what that looks like, if he do want a woman that cook, that's his right. Like that's his right. Just like if a woman say she want to do that 6'3", it's nothing I can do about that right now. Instead of get some Timberlands, like I'm gonna try, but it ain't like ain't for so much I can do. I'm not gonna be 6'3", right? I'm gonna try, but it ain't. I'm gonna put a lot of socks on to get some Timberlands and see what I could do. But sometimes people just have their own requirements, and that was something I wanted to like kind of bring forth. Is like people have requirements of people, and it's okay.
And it's okay. But it's also okay to not diminish somebody because they may not, you know what I'm saying, meet the requirements you have. Like everyone's different, you know, like what may be a deal breaker for one person may not be a deal breaker for the next person, you
Right.
know? And I think that for him, and I feel like, I mean, like, we got to be honest, like Cam he's rich as fuck. So it's like, his mindset, like, when you get to that status, like social status and financially, like, you know, there's certain things that you feel like, well, I don't have to, you know, I can, you know what I'm saying, be more selective with what I want and who I want to date and who I want to be around. But I also feel like you just, like you said, just being careful with your words, because what you don't want to do is, you know, the same way men shouldn't be emasculated, you don't want to demean the value of a woman just because she may not be able to fit whatever your criteria is. That woman may not work for you, but there's somebody else that, you know, those may not be deal breakers for. So I definitely think he could have articulated it better. And I definitely think that this cancel culture is like so dumb to me, because it's like, not everybody knows everything. I don't care how wealthy, how educated, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got 2 degrees and there's still a lot of stuff that I don't know. So I'm always in a mindset where I'm like, I always want to be a continual learner. I always want to learn from people. That's why, like, I always, like, when I find out other people have different interests or hobbies, I'm always like picking people's brains. I'm always like trying to be a sponge, because none of us know everything. And so just because he's wealthy doesn't mean he knows everything. You know, there may be things that he's ignorant to. And I don't mean ignorant in a disrespectful way, but just like not understanding or not knowing, you know what I'm saying, certain things. So where we're spending the time canceling people, why don't we sit down with these people, have conversations with them, educate them so that they better understand, like, how to better communicate or how to better articulate or how to and I'm not saying he has to change his mindset, you know, that's not what I'm saying at all. Like, be you. If that's what you think and that's how you feel, be you. But at the same time, I just think that the whole cancel culture I think it's fucked up, like, just to be frank, because it's just like, I feel like it doesn't give people the opportunity to learn. It doesn't give them the opportunity to grow. And it doesn't give people a chance to really, like, become educated on whatever part of the conversation or their behaviors that they were lacking in. It's like, we all fall short. I hate the fact that people feel like when like the Will Smith thing, like you said, this man has had he was a clean rapper. Like, he didn't even curse. Like, this man was so polished. He has had a spotless, like, career, and he made one bad decision that I don't agree with at all. I don't condone violence, but this man made one mistake. He's human. And that's why I think that sometimes society, they look at celebrities and they place celebrities on this pedestal, not realizing they're humans too. They're people too. And I'm sure you've done something to someone that you regret. You've done something or said something that you regret, that you wish that could have been a teachable moment. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, extend each other grace. Give each other that grace to learn and grow, because none of us are perfect. Like, there's no manual for life. There's no manual. Like, we learn something new every single day. And like you said, the Cam at 24 is not the same Cam at 34. But just because he has matured in those 10 years doesn't mean that there's still not opportunities for him to have teachable moments. And we should be able to extend that grace to him.
I know you got 2 degrees because you said you got opportunity. That's what people say in corporate world. There's an opportunity for growth here. So I know you got 2 degrees. You know, if I could just borrow one so I can get this remote job I'm looking for. But
you can have Andy student loans. You got all of, you know,
keep the student loans. That's why I want to be misogynistic against student loans. I believe that a man don't need all that. But anyway, but for real. And but it's real. Like, it's funny because I was reading some. So it's like, people just use, and the reason I used that clip, I used it for that specific reason, to say, I want to know what your perspective was just based on that clip. Because I watched the whole video, right? But everybody responds to 30 seconds. They don't respond to what the context is of it, and anything get chopped up. Even though people got TikTok and know that you can edit anything in life, right? People still don't want to do any work, and they don't want to figure out what was really said. Like, I think with that, but that's why I was like, I heard what he said before that, when he was talking about his family, and he was talking about he grew up in a household like that. that if you had your grandma in your house, that's a different lifestyle. Anybody that had their grandma got a different perspective of women. It just is what it is, because grandma was usually that person that was holding down the family, right? Like most people, grandma is like the matriarch. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate, some people got grandpa, but it's mainly them grandmas. Them grandmas be holding down. They didn't. I know my grandma, when she was alive, everybody went through her house. My mom, my daddy, my uncles, everybody in the family lived with her at some point. And I'm talking about when they was grown too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you had a grandma in your house and you see how inviting she is and how nurturing she is, and that she gonna cook for the family, she gonna make sure things are, and she always let the kids get away with stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like grandma let certain kids get away. Oh, baby, don't worry about that. He'll be fine. You know what I mean? He's just a baby. Like that's what grandmas do for you. So I know him having that. Plus, he got that relationship with his father too. I don't have that. Like, you know what I mean? I was single mother. Like I'm a single mother household. My grandma, you know, I knew my grandma, of course, and everything, you know, in that space. But he specifically had 3 different individuals in his house to pull from, and then having that rock with his grandma. So I understand that where he was coming from is a different space than somebody just saying, oh, girls need to do this, or women need to be this or that. I just feel like there's an opportunity for him to, you know, to do a little better in conveying that message and what he was saying. But like I said, I feel like he's somebody that's growing. He's developing a lot. He's doing a lot of great things right now. But you can tell, like I said, he's still developing and growing in that manner. But before I go into a little bit more, I want to highlight you a little bit, because we're still kind of new to each other. I did meet you, and I felt like, and on the other part of that I want to talk about was the law of attraction, right? A little bit. And I'm not going to get like super deep into that because that's a whole different space, but just on the surface level on law of attraction, because when I met you, like I saw you on stage before. I made maybe at Riddles or something, you know, some other stage, but we were in the back, in the green room at the Laugh Factory, and we're all talking, and we were energized. We were all energized. We were all involved, invested in the conversation. But when we broke off and then later on we started having conversations, like you really like excited me, like because of how you talk, how you listen, and then exchanging almost to the point where it's like we would be talking, somebody would get in the way, and then like we would still come back to our conversation like it did. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was like, it just was so dope. And it was like an attraction there, like just forget the physical, like it was an attraction there for me, hearing somebody talk and had that insight, and then like you were willing to listen, exchange those ideas. So I'm interested, is this the person you've always been? Have you always been someone that just like to have these thoughtful conversations? Where are you from? Did you grow up in Chicago? I'm from the East Coast, so I'm still learning a lot of people in Chicago.
Yes, thank you for that compliment. I really appreciate that. And I felt the same way with you. So that's why when you invited me to come to the podcast, I was like, it was so easy to talk to you. Like the conversation, it just flowed. It didn't feel forced. Cause you know, sometimes you'll be in a green room, you talk to people and you could be like, this conversation is really awkward. Like, I'm gonna go to the bar or go step away, or you know, like this is kind of awkward. But like to your point, I definitely think that the law of attraction is real. And I think that for me, so to answer your question, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. And so my parents were married, but they wound up separating and eventually getting a divorce. So I wound up moving with my grandmother. I moved in with my grandmother at like, I think I was at like 8 years old or something like that. So I was raised by my grandmother. My parents were not really in the picture that much. Okay. So I really grew up like, my grandmother was an educator. She was a teacher. So like, I was always an inquisitive kid, like always. Like I was that annoying kid that like had 50 million questions in the car. I wanted to know why everything was the way it was, why things work the way they work. Like I've always been just a naturally curious kid. And sometimes it was great, you know, but sometimes it wasn't so great because it would get me in trouble at school and like stuff like that. Like, but at the same time, like I've always been curious, and I think for me, what it was, so my mother is deaf, right? My mother was born deaf. So English wasn't even my first language. Wow. American Sign Language was. So I think since a kid, I've always been naturally curious about conversation and communication. I've always just been fascinated with communicating and learning like what makes people, you know, tick, and what makes people interested, what makes people passionate. Like, well, like I've always just been naturally curious, and I've always just I'm a people person. Like I really enjoy learning about people and just really just seeing life from a perspective outside of my own. And I don't know if it is because I was raised by my grandmother, like if that the wisdom that she used to just, you know, instill in me growing up, if that was what it would attribute it to it. But I've always just been like naturally curious about like the world around me, the people around me, what makes people happy, what makes them, you know what I'm saying? Like people's experiences. Like I've always like wanted to learn about different cultures. Like it was just something that drew me to like communication. Like, and I think that to me, it started with having a mother who couldn't hear, and just trying to see like, I wonder what life has been like for her, and seeing how like deaf people interact in the world compared to hearing people. And like, it's just, I don't know, it's just always been something about just like wanting to get to know
that's remarkable. That's remarkable. And that's why I love having these conversations, because you learn so much about other people and then how they get to places and where they are. So let me ask you this then. How was the influence at home coming from an environment that was not standard for most of us, right? You know, that's not something that's not what we consider our standard of living. So that to be in a household where, I mean, really it enhanced you, because now you have a quality that most people don't walk around with. So what was that influence like, being, you know, growing up in that environment?
It was tough. I mean, it was good, but it was tough for me because like I grew up in the Gardens, right? So I'm not sure if you know what the Gardens is, but it's like it's the hood, you know. It's
I don't drive over there, but yeah.
And it's like, you know, and so it was hard. It was hard for me personally because my grandmother was very strict. So I wasn't allowed to really hang out like that, like how a lot of my peers were. Like oftentimes if I did go to somebody's house, my grandma had to talk to them. She wanted to talk to the parents. She wanted to know like everything. Like she didn't, it was really hard for me to like actually get out and like interact. Like, so I really didn't start like
you was throwing gang signs up and you didn't even know it, basically, right? You was outside talking to people and you thought it was cool, and you didn't know. You like, hold on, they're like, you GD? So, you out here, they was like, oh, hold up, man. No, but let me ask you this. Was your mother funny? Like, is your mother like, did she have a humor about it? Because like I find like sometimes like I meet people and like we be so worried about how they gonna feel about things, and then like people that may have a disability or something else, they find it humorous and they find ways to. So was she humorous?
She is. Like my mother has a sense of humor that is really interesting, and like we'll be places and like she'll say random stuff to me in sign language, and I'll be like, Mom, not right here. Like, like
now that's funny. That's funny. Like, not here, somebody might see you. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody might see you, and that's funny because everybody else.
She has this thing where she'll point. She'll be trying to tell me something, and she has this habit where she'll like point to people, and I'd be like, people like.
That's a random person walking up like, did your mother just cuss me out? Did your mother just cuss me out? That's hilarious.
I can't take you nowhere.
Getting in trouble at the Walmart, you know what I'm saying? That's hilarious. Well, so let me ask you this then. What was your law of attraction to comedy? What brought you there? What was that inquisitive, I'm just that gonna bring. What drew you to the microphone? You know, what brought you there?
I didn't even know that, like, subconsciously I've been studying comedy my whole life. So like my whole family is silly. Like my siblings, my grandmother, my mother, like my father before he passed, like we're very fun. Like we were naturally silly. And so in high school, I won class clown because like I used to just be like,
oh, word?
I don't know.
One of them, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, I just love to like interact with people. Like when people would have a bad day, like I would just like roast them in class, and they were like, I'd be like, you ain't coming in here with all that energy. No, we're not doing that. And I would just roast whatever they had on, or if something happened, I would just like make everybody laugh to forget. Especially like what I would notice, like when drama was going on, like I really don't like drama. I don't do conflict like that. So whenever I would hear like a lot of messy stuff going on, I would use humor to kind of deflect from the drama and then like make people laugh. And I noticed like it was just something that clicked. But like in 2018, 2018, I had just gotten out of a marriage, and I was going through a lot. I felt like I really didn't have like an outlet at that time, like a safe space for me to just be like, because like sometimes you go through stuff and you be like, oh, I just want to be seen. I just want to be heard. I just want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so for me, I was just like, I was in a space where like I was trying to find something, a hobby, and I knew that I was a writer. I've always been a writer. And I was just like, well, a friend of mine had brought up an open mic. Like, man, you should try comedy. Like, you funny. Like, have you ever thought about stand up? And I was like, it's different making your friends laugh and then like getting on a stage in front of like strangers. So I was like, I was kind of nervous about the idea of it at all. And so I found out about Francis open mic, and one day I went and I did my first set and literally like bombed. Like I bombed really, really bad. Like,
do you remember any of the jokes? Do you remember any of the jokes you said?
Yes. One joke did hit. That was only one joke landed out of the whole 5 minutes. But because that one joke landed and I saw the reaction of it landing and like them responding to it, I was like, there's something there. It needs work. It needs to be polished. I need to write more so I can have more material. But there's something there. And
you was at Francis too, so that's tough for somebody just starting. That's a tough spot for somebody just starting.
My self-esteem. I went home. I was like, whew.
Because this is the look. Everybody in comedy, when you first had that bomb, you be slick. You be like, this is it. I don't want to do this no more. You got to sign it to your mother though. Hey, this is it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's what comedy do, man. Comedy is crazy like that. But the law of attraction gonna bring you back though. You know what I'm saying? Like everything going that. When you get bit by that bug, man, it's different. It's in there. So I'm glad you stuck with it. I'm glad you're still here. I know you got the Kenan Thompson experience you're doing at New York City. So I'm rooting for you. Definitely want to see you do well there. But that's what it is. I mean, I remember when I first started, and we're not gonna get into years. You got 3 years in, but just know I've been doing it long enough that I should be famous, but I'm not. But anyway,
but your time is coming.
But I remember when I first started, I remember how it was. And just, man, when I first hit the mic, and it was just, it was awful. It was awful. It wasn't even a bomb. It was one of those joints where it was just like, it wasn't enough people in there to even bomb. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a few people in there, the host, my brother, me, maybe like a few other people. I was just happy to be there. And that's when I first started, I used to take shots at Grey Goose. That's how long I've been there. Like, I used to take shots at Grey. I stopped after like 3 times though, because I was like, when I started, because when I did it, I was like, because I was trying to take the edge off, right? But then I realized, I said, I never want to be funny based on something, another element. So when I go on stage, it's always me. It's never, I don't want to be impaired. I don't want any liquid courage or anything. For me specifically, I want to make sure that I'm funny when I go up there, and I want to make sure it's absolutely me. So I haven't drank since then before. Now I'll drink after, but before I go on stage, I'm not drinking anything. I barely eat before I go on stage. That's why when people ask me for stuff, I'll be like, I'm good. I don't really do, maybe a couple sips of water. But I just remember it once, and because I know how I felt after that first one, and I was like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to do this. I want to make sure that I go up there and like really become, and then things starting to work out. But I know how that first bomb go. You know what I'm saying? I got booed one time in my whole career. I got booed one time. I was in Petersburg, Virginia, and I never forget. It was crazy. I was down there, and I would just have one of them sets. And the worst set you can have is when it's dead silent, when nobody's saying. I get no reaction. One dude in the back was like, "Boo!" I was like, "Hey, bro!" Like, and I said some things, and we gotta get into what I said. But I said a couple of things, and then I said, "Peace, I'm out." But I remember that moment, but I remember those elements. But no matter what, I always wanted to come back again and do it again. And like, it's just like the comedy does that to you, just keeps you coming back over and over. And that traction, it just, you can't even, it's nothing you can do about it, you know?
Yes. And then when you come up on the other side of the bomb, right? Because for me, like I said, like, if I can be completely transparent, I would say maybe that first year at Francis, like consistently going back, I still was trying to find my rhythm. But each time I got better. I kept getting better. I kept getting better. Now I go there, it's like it's lit. Like I have a great time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the regulars like love me there. Like, but it took, you know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't happen.
You was too smart too soon. You was too smart. You was coming up there, it's too smart. You know what I mean? You out there with 6 degrees, like, hold on, man, listen.
They make you work. That is one thing about Francis will make you work, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I tell Marlon to this day, I say, Marlon, if it wasn't for Francis, I wouldn't be as strong of a comic as I am.
Right.
I would not, because it's so much that you're competing against at a room like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between when there's a bar, there's TVs and games and all this stuff going on. People want to talk and hold conversation, as compared to a Laugh Factory where people are actually paying to sit in this comedy club. They're paying to come see it. At Francis, that they don't pay to get in there. Like it's a free show. Like they're not really, they know that comedy's going on a Tuesday, but they're not coming there for the comedy. You know what I'm saying? So as a comic, you have to work 10 times harder to grab their attention, whether it's from the conversation, whether it's from the TV, whether it's from, you know, the bar, whatever's going on. Like, and then you got people that are drunk, people that are drinking, and that, you know what I'm saying, might want to heckle or whatever the case may be. So that room is definitely built me up, and I'm so glad I didn't give up. And I'm glad that I kept coming back week after week after week. And I know they probably was looking at me like, this girl is like,
that's how you
don't give up. And I'm like, but I used to play sports. I used to play basketball. So I had this.
Hold on, what did you do in life? Can we talk about what you haven't done in life? Can we do that every time? You came up with everything. I was class clown. I was basketball captain. I know 2 different languages. Like, all right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I had that sports mentality. Like, y'all not going, I know I'm funny. I know I got it in. Y'all not gonna make me go home and do self-harm. Like, no, I'm gonna keep coming back until I get it right. And it didn't happen overnight at all. I don't think I got really fully comfortable at Francis until my 2nd year in. So, and those are the conversations that people don't talk about with comedy. Like, everybody thinks that, you know, these comedians are overnight successes. And it's like, no, like, it's really a grind. You really have to commit to this to get better. And I'm just grateful that I had the patience to like keep enduring and keep going and embarrassing myself, because at the end of the day, I'm like, look, either you're gonna get better or you're not. And I did. I used those nights where I'm like, ooh, that was a bad set, to like fuel me. Like, you know what? I'm gonna trash these jokes. I'm gonna trash this joke or that joke. Cause like, to answer your question, like, I thought one of the first jokes that I wrote, I thought it was so funny. And it was about, do you remember when Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul had that fight?
Yeah.
You remember? So the joke that I had told, I think, this was the first joke I told. And I was like, I wonder if celebrities hate taking and regret taking endorsements that they can't use in real life. Because imagine if in that moment, what if Chris Paul really could have been like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And like, literally, I was like, the dude from Allstate probably called him that night and was like, are you in good hands? Like, and I thought that joke was so funny, but I look at it now.
I like the timing of that. I like the timing of that. That was cool. I'm pretty sure you probably ain't say it like that when you first started, right? Because now you got the timing down. But no, you can bring that back. Actually, I don't know if you said that. You can bring that back down. If you don't, I'm gonna use it. But anyway, but you know, it's funny. You know, but what you're saying is real, and it's funny because like us. When I say us, I mean, when we talk about urban comedy, right? Yes. We are always going to be defined different than the other side, the mainstream side, right? Because what we have to do, they don't have to do, right? Yeah. The mainstream doesn't have to go to Francis. They can go straight to the Comedy Bar. They can go straight to the Laugh Factory, all these other places, and just work that side. We got to work both, right? But when we get it from our home, it's different, because you feel like if you can make us laugh, you can go anywhere. You can, because you know how hard it is. That's why, like Bernie Mac from Chicago, right? When he came to Def Jam, I ain't scared of you, monks, right? You remember that line? Because he set a standard like, nah, like I know where I'm at, and I know what I'm about to do. And I know when I rock this, y'all gonna look at me, because that's how, you know, Black people, we love you based on what you could do. You know what I'm saying? So when you funny, oh, your love meter all the way up here. let you not be funny at first, and people won't even touch you. It'd be like you got COVID. You know what I'm saying? They're like they 6 feet away, not being funny. You
No,
6
it's
feet
true.
away,
It's
and
true.
that's how it is. Like, and you get judged by that. When you go on the mainstream side, they used to bombing. Like they bomb and they talk about it. I was at a show not too long ago, and they was in the back room. They was all talking about bombing. I'm like, I don't even want that energy in the room with me, because I don't talk about because in my mind, every time I go out, I'm about to kill it. Now it might not happen the way I vision it sometimes, but you ain't gonna talk to me about no bombing before no show. Oh man, I bombed over there. Hey, bro, keep that negative energy over there, brother. You know what I'm saying? You be a unicorn over there. I don't want to see you, bro. Like, but that's the real, like the urban side different. So like we gotta work that much harder. And I think that's what attracts you to it too. Cause when you get that vibe, and you know you connecting with the man, boy, when you got that good set, boy, it ain't nothing like it, man. That's a metaphysical experience when you really tear it down and you start becoming. And I know you will. And I think too, but even I think your energy, because you are you have a good spirit about you, that's going to take you far as well, because relationships are everything. You know what I'm saying? Relationships and being on time, even though you went on time today, it's cool, I love you, but no, I'm joking.
Thank you for your patience.
I'm messing with you, but when you have that when you talk to people a certain way, when you respect people and you respect their craft, and you're not known as the people that's in it, because it's always them comics in the back that want to talk about all the other comics, and you know, always got something to say negative, or even talking about bombings. Like, yo, like, come and do your business, do what you do, show love where you do. If you don't rock with something, you ain't got to rock with it. And I'm not saying you not to be honest, but I think just having that good energy that you have, I think that's going to take you far, and it's going to get doors open for you, just having that positive energy. That's the law of attraction as well, you know. And I think that's how I've gotten in a lot of places based on that. I got some places I don't even know how I got there, right? But it had to be because of the relationships, though. You know, it had to be because of the networking. Like now he's cool over there. Like he be out the way. He ain't doing all that other stuff. Every time you talk to him, he ain't downing people. There are bitter comics in this game. There are some bitter comics in this game. They feel like I could be bitter. Like I don't even think like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as I've been doing it, like I'm still having a blast. I'm still having fun. I'm doing what I want to do. And I still want to put out good energy. And like, I'm building my own platform, and I want to give a platform to somebody like you and other artists that can come on our platform and talk about our legitness, right? Legit conversations, and just be honest and be flowing, and then figure out how we can do and network and leverage so we can be together. So I think just keep putting out that positive energy that you are. I think that's really, really important for you. And I don't think that's going to be a problem for you, but I'm just doubling down, you know what I mean? Based on, you know, our interactions now. And I'm trying to learn some sign language too before you go. So I don't, you know, you know what I mean? Right now, all I got is a piece of A-Town Down. That's all I got right now. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got too much right now, but we can work on it. When are you leaving for New York?
So the Keenan Ultimate Experience is Wednesday. So it's Wednesday. So I'm flying in New York Tuesday, and then I'll be back Thursday. And then I've got some more shows coming up at the end of the month. There's a Joke and Smoke show on the 23rd. And I think
But you're actually going to be relocating to the East Coast, correct?
Yes. I am gonna be. So you just got an exclusive. I haven't said anything about it. I haven't.
My bad.
No,
my bad. Okay. But I'm glad I got it.
It's okay. It's okay. But yes, I will be there permanently in May. So I'm super excited about it. And to your point about the law of attraction, like, I have been preparing this move for a little while now, and I have been just praying and meditating and just asking God, like, can you, because I didn't want to go too premature. I didn't want to go, you know, because I'm still early in my career, and although I'm having a great time, I'm more of I'm very strategic. I try to be very strategic. Like, I don't like to invest in things that may or may not, but it's also a gamble, right? When you talk about art and creative, like, it's a gamble that we take. But I was asking him, you know, just for clarity, like, you know, is this the right move? Am I going too prematurely? And then the Keenan thing happened. And I'm just like, if that's not an affirmation, like, that, like, I am on the right path, like, I was just like, why am I overthinking it? And so I think that's what I learned from that experience. Like, don't overthink it. You've been planning and preparing for this and putting this into motion for months now. Don't overthink it. Don't second guess yourself. You know.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. I think that's important is when you have these things that pop up in your life that says, go ahead, go. And I like even me getting to Chicago, I got here by chance, Chicagoland. I got here by chance. I never in a million years thought I would end up in Chicago, but it's been one of the greatest experiences for me, especially, because I took a couple years where I wasn't really performing that much. I was living in Pittsburgh for a little while before I was, from the East Coast, but I was living in Pittsburgh for a little while and everything was happening during COVID. So I didn't really perform a lot. And then last year I got out here and I got to, get back into the groove of things and really get back into space. And now I've been really doing a lot. And Chicago has been amazing for me, right? But if I didn't take the leap and say, okay, I'm going to Chicago because that's the next step for me, then who knows what I'm doing right now, right? And who knows how long it's taking me to get to the space that I'm in. So when you have these moments of clarity, it's like, you know what, this is what it is. And there is no perfect time. There's no perfect time for anything. There's never going to be a moment where you're going to be completely ready for everything because it still can hit you in the face. Like, I'm not even gonna say that. I was a good one. I could have used Will on that one. But anyway, but man, it's so easy to get those in. But it's like I'm a max out person. I really believe in 24-hour days, right? I always believe in max out every 24. If you have an opportunity today to do something, do it. Martin Luther King said it, don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today, right? It's very important to stay in the moment and present. It doesn't mean that we can't reach for tomorrow. But I think it's important that every day has a significance in your life, right? Because tomorrow's today too, right? Once you get there, right? So tomorrow's today too. So you keep building on those todays and then your tomorrows become more significant and more, and more, greater. So just continue along that path. I know you're going to be great. You got 2 degrees, obviously, and
And I'm not using them. Isn't that interesting? Like,
you're using them though. You're using them.
I'm not using either one of them.
You over here talking strategy. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take the 6 from the Bronx, and so I know you're going to be out there learning that train system out there. It's going to be.
I've been trying to learn get my New York moves. I've been listening to a lot of 504.
Just go get you some Air Force Ones. I don't know why they still wearing Air Force Ones, the high tops out there. But I love people from New York. My squad. I love New York. New York is a really great place. I love going to New York. It's fun performing up there, and you'll have fun on the East Coast. What are some artists that you're attracted to? What artists kind of before you or right now that you look to and say, I've always been attracted to their style, and these are people I aspire to have those moments like that on the stage and be able to connect with audience around the world. Who are those artists for you?
Definitely. So the first person, so I used to, when I was growing up, I used to sneak and watch Comic View. Because my grandma, like I said, my grandma was very religious, so we weren't allowed to watch like secular TV or anything like that. So I would stay up because my grandma, she passed out like 9 o'clock. So like I would sneak and watch Comic View at night, and that was when I really fell in love with Kevin Hart. Not in a like that type of way, but as a I'm like definitely in that way. But I fell in love with his style of comedy, and I think I resonated with a lot of the stuff that he went through, like some of the experiences with his father. I experienced some of the same things, like not necessarily like coming to the games and stuff like that, but just like dealing with parents that also battle with like drug addiction and stuff like that. So it was like to see somebody going through some of the things that I was going through and experiencing, and to see him talk about it in a way that was funny, and that like not just fully self-deprecating, but like also showing people that like, hey, like I can laugh at my own pain. Like I'm healing through doing this. And I thought that was so like beautiful to me.
Right there. If you laugh at my own pain, that was a plug. But yeah, I got you. That was a plug.
But it was just so, to me, it was just like, wow, I really enjoyed that. I was like, he's so open and just like honest about his journey and his struggles. And I appreciated that. So I would definitely say like Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish definitely is somebody that I felt like I just loved her energy. I loved how fun she was, how she would just like, her crowd work I thought was amazing. And then like her talking about her journey through like, being in the system and things of that nature. So I've always resonated with people that I think have had, and I think all comics, because we wouldn't be comics if we didn't have like things that we experienced or
the story.
Yeah, every comic has a story. And I think what I love about comedy in general is the fact that every night I get to go, I get to go and not only contribute to helping bring other people's day, like, right? We're dealing with so much. The world is a shit show right now. And to know that, like, I can contribute to taking your mind off of whatever struggles, whatever challenges, whatever you got going on in your personal life, I can take that off your mind for a few minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was so dope. And then I get to sit amongst my peers and watch them tell their stories from their experiences. To me, I just thought that was so dope, like so dope to me. And I still do. Like, to this day, I'm like, I finally found something that, like, I really enjoy doing. But, like, I also, it doesn't feel like work sometimes. Sometimes it's just like, man, like, just being in comedy clubs, like, it's just something about it that, like, I've always enjoyed. I've always really loved just comedy. But who else? Dave Chappelle. Oh my goodness, he's been such a huge influence in challenging me to, like, stop giving like a fuck. Like, I feel like his approach, I love it because it's like
he's an artist. He's a true artist.
Yeah, like, he brings up stuff that's, like, super controversial. So, like, one of my favorite sketches he did when he was doing Chappelle's show was the Black White Supremacists, right?
Clayton Bigsby.
How brilliant do you have to be to take a Black man and turn him into this white supremacist? But the way that he did it, it wasn't tacky, it wasn't tasteless, but he did it in a way where it was like, I'm gonna create this sketch, but through this sketch, it's gonna spark conversations. And it's gonna be a mirror to the people that are like that. You get what I'm saying? To have them say, are we like that? Is this how we behave and interact? Like, but it was like, he's calling it out, but he's not doing it in a way that's like, that I don't think is malicious. I don't think any of Dave's jokes come from a malicious place. I really think that he's a very observant person, and he knows how to challenge people's thoughts. Like, he knows how to challenge you and make you think and make you say, I didn't think about it like that, or I didn't see it in that way. And to take such dense topics like that, racism and social inequality and all of these things, even now with the homophobic backlash that he's been getting, like, who can take those? It's not too many comics that can take those dense topics and make them funny and be funny. Because there's some comics, like, you go to certain clubs and they may say things that may be a little bit offensive, and you'd be like, if you're gonna be racist, at least be funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be racist and unfunny. Like, but it's just like, I don't think that he intends to offend. I think he just says what's on his mind, and he challenges people's thoughts. And I think that some people don't understand that. But I feel like he's challenging me to do more of that.
Dave he's working on a higher frequency. That thought process, and where he's at, like, he's mastered comedy. And, like, when you master comedy, that's like, I mean, he's like, anybody does anything at the highest level of where he is, it becomes the truest form of art. Like, it's like, I feel like that with doctors, with anything that you do at the highest level, it becomes art, because it's like, everybody can't touch that realm or that frequency to be able to do the things that he does on stage and make it look so simple. He's taking these simple concepts and ideas that come off as simple, but when you go around, like, even when he talked about, I'm gonna give you the punchline first and then I'm coming back, you know what I'm saying? And he kicked him, like, you know what I mean? Like, just the stuff that, like, the Michael Jackson stuff you say, his balls are smooth. The dude, like, the stuff that he says, like, going in the house and he's like, look at this.
What do you rapes? What do you say?
Exactly. It's just, he has enough silly, enough intellect, enough physicality. He has everything. He has everything in his bag. And it's just, I mean, it's Chaplin-like to me. It's just like, it's just he's in his own lane. There's not too many people. I love Chris Rock. It's a few people up there that's just like, when they say stuff, it's like, I want to think about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to say that. And maybe I do think about that, but his thought process and how he really breaks it down and conveys it is totally different. You mentioned Tiffany and Kevin. I kind of consider them similar because they kind of get the same kind of backlash about how they are and they're goofy. And Kevin has been one of those people like that. Um I've always respected his hustle, and I think I've always respected his hustle more than that. Like I never put him in my favorite comedians or anything like that, but he's man, this business savvy is ridiculous. Like the way he does things, the way he moves, and the levels that he gets to, I respect it tremendously. How did you like his mini series that he did with Wesley Snipes? How'd you like that?
Oh my goodness, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed seeing him in a different light.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we never see Kevin as the bad guy, so it was like to see him in a different. I enjoyed it. I was like, okay.
I thought it was dope. I mean, I honestly,
For it.
I thought it was one of his best works. I did. I enjoyed watching each one. Even when I knew what was coming, I liked the setup. I liked the design of it. I liked so much. The only part I didn't see coming was the end. Like I didn't
Yes.
see it at the very end, but I thought it was really, really good. It was fun. It was exciting. You know, it was compelling, and it had the drama in it. Because I know
And
me,
the messages, the hidden messages
yeah.
inside of it, like one, how far will people go for money? You know, how far? You know, to protect their money, to not get swindled, to not get finessed. How far will people go? It was another part that I thought was really, really interesting, especially as a comic, right?
Mhm.
Because there's a pressure on us as comics to always be funny, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not always in the best mood.
Right.
There's a pressure that comes with, we could be having a bad day, but if you got a book and nobody cares about that bad day, you better go out there and kill that set and then go home and cry or do whatever you're gonna do. So like, I really found that part interesting when he was like, nobody cares what you're going through. Nobody cares, just go out there. And I was just like, ooh, like it was just something about that particular scene that like kind of hit home, and it was just like, wow, like, you know, I think it was so many gems, you know, in that series that was just like, wow, very thought-provoking, very thought-provoking.
People understand how much pressure it is to be at that level all the time, to have to work in that space all the time. So like where we are, we work clubs and it's great, and you know, it's micro pressure. But to have an arena with 17,000 people waiting on you, right? That paid $50 plus $200 in the front, $400 in the front to see you, you have to deliver, you know, consistently. To go on tour at that level it's just different, you know. And I think that's why I respect those guys and what they do, and they really set the standard for us and how we can grow and do things and build out. And I mean, what he's done with Heart Productions, he's put people on with Real Husbands out Hollywood. Like as I got older, because when I was younger, I don't want to say I judged a lot of performers or anything like that, but I always I had my opinions on artists. But as I've grown and got older, like guys like Kevin Hart, Nick Cannon, even Tiffany to some degree, like artists that may not be necessarily my favorite, I still respect what they do and how they do it and how they accomplish it. I love what Nick does with Wildin' Out and how he's putting other people on. And it's like the same thing, even like with like Will and like LL, like with Will, like that's why we talk about, I've been using Will as an analogy for years, because I've always looked at like, I've always rocked with this dude, and people have been poking holes in him for years. And same thing with LL Cool J. Like I was the dude when I was young, I was walking my pant leg up in school, right? And I was that. But LL was Drake before Drake, right? Because he was the ladies guy.
That was classic. In that, what was it? In the House? What was that?
Oh, and Marion Hill. Hell yeah, Marion Hill played for the Raiders. Like, so but guys like that, I've always respected those dudes for being themselves and not conforming to what society would say you should be like. Oh, you should be this way. Everybody's not going to be Dave Chappelle. Everybody's not going to be Cedric the Entertainer. Everybody's not going to be, you know, Bernie Mac or Martin Lawrence. So everybody has to do their own thing and give to society, just like you're going to give society away. I'm going to give, like everybody has to give something to society. But all those artists I respect them. I met Tiffany Haddish a couple of times actually. Well, really once. The other time I saw her, but I met her at a Dave Chappelle show, private Dave Chappelle show. It was crazy in LA last year. You know what I'm saying? I bought her a drink and everything. You know what I'm saying? She'll never
Aw.
remember that. She ain't gonna remember me. But she see me again, I'm definitely like, hey, I got you that vodka, right? I got you that vodka. But
So
she
she
was
drink vodka. I was gonna ask you, what did she order?
I got her. I bought her a drink. She ain't buy me a drink. I was like, no, I got you, boo. I got you, baby. All right. I'm gonna make sure you going out here and getting these movies right. But you know what? Meeting her though, she another person.
Well, you
She
know she
really
back
great.
on the market. You go
I
I'll
know,
slide
right?
in
And
the
people
DM.
used to call, and my grandma always say I remind her of Common. I don't know why, but anyway. But um, but Tiffany though, she got man, she's another one. She has really good energy though. Like when I was around her, like just in that few moments, she was just cool, man. Like it wasn't even like she's a real person. And I like that. I like being around real people. Um, and because I ain't got time to be phony. I ain't one of them dudes like I rock with it, I rock with it. If I don't, I don't. But I ain't got time to be fronting and all that stuff like that. So I like being
Yes.
around real people like her. She's real. And you know, so yeah. What's next for you?
So
What's your
yeah,
journey? What you look like on this journey, huh?
yeah. So what's next for me is continuing to build in my stand-up world. So one of the things I really want to focus on is like just getting my social media presence up. I've been working on just trying to like develop more content so that I can start putting stuff out on social media, gain a bigger following. Cause like although I love doing shows and stuff like that, I'm understanding there's still the business side of it. And I can't neglect the business side, focusing solely on the art. So, when you're in these stages of your career, it's trying to balance, right? Trying to find that balance between still making time to create new content, but also running your comedy as a business. So, social media, so content, coming up with more content. I definitely have been working on a TV series that I want to put together. It's been a lot of moving parts with that, and with the move, it's still in the development stages, but I'm really excited about that. And yeah, just continuing to like just grow my brand, and just keep rocking. Like I'm having so much fun in stand up, and it has its ups, it has its downs, but yeah, like I'm just really excited about the stage that like my career is in and where it's going and where it's headed. And I just think it's a really exciting time right now. I'm just like, so I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm like, I'm just, yeah, I'm in a really great space, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And I think to your point about the law of attraction, like it's so real. It's so real. And people can feed off your energy. People can feed off of, like you said, whether you being fake, you being phony. And I'm just gonna continue to just build relationships and foster relationships, because like when you brought up Kevin's, success, what I thought was so interesting about you bringing that up is like a lot of people don't talk about it, but I think it's kind of like what stems a lot between him and Cat Williams's beef or whatever. But like at that time, before, all of that stuff was happening with Cat, like Kevin was able to get those opportunities because he was pleasant to work with. He was a hardworking person. People wanted to work with him and wanted to be around him because of the energy that he gave off. You know what I'm saying? Like for him to be as successful as he is, and to constantly make sure that he's doing his due diligence with putting all of the plastic cup boys out there and saying, yes, I might be the star of the group, but I am nothing without my team. And I think that there's something to me that I really enjoy about being around people that are talented but still humble. You know what I'm saying? Like and I'm not gonna say he don't probably pop his shit, because he probably does, but at the same time, I don't think he goes out of his way to make people around him feel uncomfortable or belittled. Like he has no problem with like passing off opportunities or putting his team members in the spotlight. And I think that's what I really admire about him, because like I said, I used to play basketball and I played point guard. So there's inside of me, there's a piece of me that like, even when I do things and people are always like, oh, this was great, or this, da, 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 and I'm like, yes, but yo, like, I'm always thinking about like how I can contribute to like bigging up somebody else, and like not just only putting the light on me. Like I know what I'm capable of, but I also understand that no one person can see success by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes developing a team, having a solid team around you. And I think that his personality and his talent and his hard work got him to where he's at. You know, like comedy is subjective. Everyone, you know, has their opinions about him as a comic or whatever the case may be. But like, you cannot deny that that man knows what he's doing. And he definitely is showing, like, through the LOL network and stuff like that, like that the sky limitations, you're the only one that can place limitations on yourself. Like, sky is literally the limit. You can do whatever you want to do. You just got to be willing to put in the work. You know, like when I used to watch some of his videos, I loved when he used to be like, everybody want to be a star, but nobody want to put in the work. Nobody want to put in the work. And this is really a grind. But not only was he smart enough to say, I'm going to work hard, but he teamed up with other people that worked hard, and they all worked together. None of them step on each other's toes. You don't see Spank stepping on Niem's toes or any of them. They all collaborate together. Sure. And that is what makes that whole brand so powerful, because their egos don't allow for them to want to step on each other. They want to see each other win. They want, and that's the type of energy that breeds success.
Yeah, and I'm just happy it's another Niem out there successful, because you know, trying to get us on. You feel me? They got all these Michaels and Davids out here. What about these Niems? You know what I mean? These Niems of the world. So that's legit. Now, I agree with everything you said. You know, and like I said, all of them, I really respect what they do. I know Spank from back in the day, and Spank has always been, he's been great. And those guys, so they've been doing anything for quite some time. Kevin is, he's 100% doing what he's supposed to do in the space that he's in. And I respect that. Not gonna hold this up too much longer, because I be having to edit these things, and it's a lot. Let's talk about processes, but I'm happy we got to talk today. I'm really happy we got to speak a little bit more in depth, and hopefully we'll be able to have more conversations after this, legit conversations, right? But talking to you today has been, I've learned a lot from you. You know, it's made me think about some things that, you know, I want to, you know, think, because I definitely want to get my sign language on. And but I like hearing about people's journey. I like to hear other people's perspective on things. I just love the exchanging of the ideas. And I also, like I said, I want to bring people on that I believe that are moving forward in the culture and on their way. I feel like you're on your way. You're going to be great. This is all about law of attraction and attracting things that are great for yourself and your family and all the people that you love and care about. And I think we'll do that. Was there anything you wanted to say before we signed off?
I just want to say thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you at Laugh Factory. Like I said, I saw you a few times in passing, and I never knew like that you were so easy to talk to. So thank you. Like, I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk to you and just be able to like just share our perspectives on the culture. And I just want to say that continue to keep going, because like you are dope as well. Like, and I know that, like, to the point where you were making about like I could be bitter or whatever the case may be. Like, I just hope that throughout your journey you never get discouraged. Like, don't ever get discouraged. And if you do, you can reach out. Like, we gonna get that energy up out of here. But I'm gonna give you like 5 minutes to cry. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but like I just want to say that like I want you to stay encouraged. You know what I'm saying? Like, we oftentimes see certain people make, you know, everybody's journey is different. Everybody's path is different. But I just want to say, stay encouraged. Like, the same way that you speaking life into me, like I speak that over you too. And I definitely believe that there's a reason why our energies, you know, do connect with one another. We are like-minded in terms of just like the energy that we give off and being of a more higher, we're operating out of a more higher vibration. And so, yeah, like I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I had a great time. I definitely look forward to coming back and continuing the conversation with you. So that's really the biggest thing for me. And then if your followers are looking to find me, they can find me on Instagram at Jen_Madden88. So it's at JENN_Madden88. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You're so easy to talk to. We could do this probably for another 30-45 minutes if we wanted to. But,
mess around, miss the whole playoffs talking to your ass. Miss the whole playoffs. I'm like, damn, it's over already.
But we're not gonna do that. Go get to the game. But thank you so much for your time. I had a great time, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing this again.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for showing up, and everybody that's out there watching, man. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna grow this channel, Draper Norway Media. You can see it on the shirt. It's my lifestyle brand, but we also building a lot of content, artists, aesthetics, bringing them. You know what I mean? We making it shake. So appreciate you all. We're gonna sign off right now. Peace, love, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.